Hello, if there's anyone there, the presentation will start at exactly 4. So I'm just giving people a few more moments to get in. So we'll begin shortly. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Teresa Bobrowski, and I work for Departures Travel in Sydney. And today I want to just provide a general overview of a small ship voyage to the Baltics in September 2021, which is about 15 months out. And it's on the Oceania Sirena. So if you've traveled with Oceania before, some of this might not be new. So I am just going to dive right in. Now, before really getting into things, I do need to talk about the elephant in the room, which, as we all know, is COVID-19. The reality of it is as COVID gets more and more under control, cruisers are going to continue cruising. People who cruise do so because they have a passion for it. And in terms of Oceania, they remained COVID-free on all their vessels as the pandemic emerged, which is very fortunate. And I personally had an experience around this as I was traveling as the pandemic was emerging. So all I can say is I really am impressed with how Oceania dealt with a very serious issue. So, and with that, Oceania Cruisers are frequently what the cruise industry is saying, lifting and shifting, which is they're taking their bookings from 2020 and moving them into 2021 or 2022 if the itineraries are already out. And because they love to cruise and they really don't want to miss the opportunity to cruise again. And then in a broader way, Norwegian Cruise Lines Holdings is in a financial position so that if they can continue to operate for 18 months without sailing. So that's pretty important. They have a good financial stability right now. Now, some of what is going on or is anticipated going forward for cruising around safety is the continuous shipwide disinfection, daily fogging of staterooms, suites, and public places, which is really important. And it is a World Health Organization approved product that's non-toxic. Dedicated public health officer. Oceania will have a dedicated officer on each of their ships going forward, and they will coordinate the work and efforts to implement, revise, and deploy all new requirements or protocols issued by CDC recommendations, and whatever the cruise line wants to do, which is sometimes more than what the CDC is asking for. As well, all their staff and crew will be required to go through regular temperature checks and health screening, and that is multiple times per day for temperature checks. Enhanced medical teams and services, so they're expanding their team that work the infirmary and are going to be able to do testing right there and ensure that everyone remains safe and healthy on the ship. No touch food service shipwide. Since I've been cruising Oceania, that is actually a norm. I've never been able to serve myself at a buffet there. It's just a practice that they opted to put in place above and beyond. They didn't have to. Increase social distancing, and this is important. You know, people think about, oh, these ships, they're so big, or so many people. The Oceania Sirena has 684 guest capacity, and how they're dealing with social distancing is reducing the number of chairs or tables in dining rooms or areas like lounges, and they are not going to be selling out their ships. And this is probably going to be what many cruise lines are doing, but this is what they're working towards right now. And we've all signed off, if we've cruised, the pre-embarkation screening, medical screening questionnaire. And that is going to now have a lot more weight given it, and probably more questions. And we will all go through temperature screening as well. And in line with the social distancing on board, the social responsible check-in will also be done. And what that is they will stagger check-in times even more than they already do, and do the pre-embarkation health screening, temperature checks, and a lot of it, they're working towards it being as touch-free as possible as well. And then if, for example, the ship is out and a hotspot for COVID were to pop up, Oceania will change the itineraries. And I actually had that experience where I was supposed to go from Cape Town to Singapore, and it was Cape Town. It ended up being Cape Town to Dubai. And that's because the ship had to keep us all safe, and it meant a significant change to the itinerary. And that was an extreme case when little was known about COVID. So, but that is something that's always possible. And so that's what they're working towards. And I think there's lots of good stuff in there. Now, again, we're talking about travel, and we're all thinking, well, we can't leave the country if it's non-essential travel. So this is really about dreaming and planning for later, sort of building that excitement, creating anticipation, and getting a conversation going about planning. The reality is people who were cruisers, they would be talking about their cruise for 2021 or early 2022 now. So this would be a normal time. And and right now what's happening is, because of that lift and shift I mentioned earlier, a lot of the itineraries for 2021 are actually quite full right now, or they're filling up. So it really is, if there is an interest to travel in 2021, this is actually a good time to be at least talking about it, finding out what your options are, finding out what cancellation policies are, and sort of understanding the travel landscape today. So if we go to the ship. Now, what makes Oceania stand apart? They really do have sophisticated little ships. They're just beautifully done and very thoughtful service. I find Oceania has some of the best service at sea as far as the crew and staff go. They are about immersive exploration on shore. They have impeccable service always. Their ships are all renewed in the last year or two. They've all been completely reimagined. So they're quite beautiful and comfortable. Exquisite cuisine. Anyone who's been on Oceania knows what the options are like, and they really do a great job of for dining and eating on board, whether it's casual or fine dining. They have really polished that part of their service on board. And then paying for inclusions you want. Oceania sits in between the premium cruise lines, which have a low cruise fare, and then you have to build your trip from that. Now, with Oceania, they do have a number of inclusions, which we'll get into, but then you sort of build what you want from that. As an example, I don't drink. And if I go on to an all-inclusive cruise, I'm paying for access to all those premium wines and spirits that I'm not going to drink. So with Oceania, the way they built their inclusions, you can sort of build what you need. And so that is a really nice feature of Oceania. And then it's sort of country club casual. There's never formals. So you do not have to pack a tuxedo or an evening gown. All of that can stay at home, and you can just come with your casuals. Men, maybe you would have a collared shirt or two. You might bring a sports jacket for the specialty restaurant, but it's not a requirement. So that part is really nice. And if anyone wants to talk about that outside of this presentation, they can call their travel consultant, or give me a call if they don't have a travel consultant, and I can help fill in the gaps. So standard inclusions. Oceania typically has round trip economy airfare from major gateways, and then, unlimited Wi-Fi, which is not there, and then a no-life choice. And what that is this is where you can start customizing to your personal preferences. There's the house select beverage package, and what that is you get unlimited wine and beer at lunch and dinner, but picking that, you would have to then pay for maybe a cocktail by the pool or a pre-dinner drink. It really depends on your preferences. Or in the case of this particular journey, you would get 6 free shore excursions. The idea is 3 per person in the stateroom, or 600 US shipboard credit. And that would be, of course, split between the 2 in the stateroom. And then inclusions, all the unlimited specialty coffees, teas, soda, bottled water, and any other non-alcohol based beverages are all included. And when you get to a premium cruise line, that typically you would have to buy a beverage package or pay for as you're consuming them. Your mini bar is refreshed every day with water and soda. And if you do have the premium liquor package, you'd probably be able to get some beer and other bits and pieces for the mini bar as well. And your specialty dining is always included. There's no supplement for that. And on some of the premium lines, that's actually getting up to be quite a high amount. So that actually adds up quite quickly. And then 24-hour in-suite dining is part of the service. And as I mentioned, Wi-Fi is included for everyone. And I just want to go through a couple pictures of the ship. This is a grand staircase. All ships have a grand staircase or an atrium that they're proud of. And this is what you see when you board an Oceania ship. And then this is the Horizons Lounge. A lot of people hang out here. It's quieter than some of the other public areas on the ship. And a lot of people sit around and watch the ship as it's coming into port or leaving port. That's very popular. So, and you can go up there and get coffee and tea sort of outside of regular hours. So really nice spot to sit around. And Martini's Piano Bar, this is for the extroverts. This is sort of where it all happens before dinner and in the evening, sort of as dinner ends. This is a very popular spot on the ship, and it's really comfortable. It is a lot of fun, and they always have some great piano music. So really nice place. And then baristas, again, I mentioned all the specialty coffees and teas are included in the cruise fare. So this is on deck 5 outside of the grand dining room, and a nice spot as well. There's tables and stuff. You can sort of sit, and a lot of people sit there and maybe do a bit of computer work or play cards and stuff. It's a nice spot just to sort of relax away from others if you don't want to be in a bar or by the pool. And the Oceania Sirena Theater, these are on all the ships, and this is where you would have guest speakers. They often have enrichment programs on the ships like this one. To the Baltics, you might have an art historian or a historian, maybe architecture, because there's some really interesting architecture for this journey. and the evening entertainment. So you'll definitely see this location if you're on the ship. And what I just love about the Oceania is they have the most wonderful libraries, I think, at sea, and very well curated, comfortable furniture. You can sit in here and it's really quiet and peaceful, and a nice place to spend a few hours, especially if you enjoy reading and don't want to sit by the pool or in your stateroom. Or so nice spot. And this is a lead-in veranda. Typical. The staterooms are slightly smaller than some other cruise lines, but it is a smaller ship. So, but this is the new interior. So very nice colors, very well appointed. Oceania really has fabulous beds and bedding. I really super compact, nice staterooms. But they do have inside and ocean view as well, ocean view unobstructed and obstructed. So it really depends on what you're looking for and how much time you think you'll be in your stateroom. The grand dining room, this is a really beautiful space. They have Murano glass. It's super comfortable. The service is impeccable, great food, and it's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you can have that nice white linen table service throughout the cruise if that's your preference. It is quite nice. And they have 3 specialty dining rooms. And again, this is going to be all included. They have the Polo Grill, which is your, steak and seafood place. Really nice spot to go. Toscana is their Italian restaurant, and it is really quite wonderful. Highly recommend if you enjoy Italian food. And then the Red Ginger, I personally haven't eaten at it because I have not been on the Sirena. I've been on the other ships, but this ship happens to have this on board. It's Pan-Asian, sort of modern Asian cuisine. I hear it's fabulous, and I'm hoping to be on the Sirena at some point to try it out myself. And then the Terrace Cafe, this is the buffet area, sort of just inside the ship. They have a buffet area. It has 2 sides to move people quickly through. And sitting out back here is just wonderful. A nice sunny day, whether you're at sea or in port, it's just a really pleasant spot to sit and chat about what you've done that day or what you're going to do that day, and highly recommend it. And again, no touch buffet always. So there's a level of hygiene that already exists on Oceania, which I really appreciate. Now, evening, going back to the theater, for example, well, there's a casino, string quartet on deck 5 all the time. It's they're up there a number of times per day, and it's very popular. And of course, the piano bar and dancing in the Horizons Lounge. But there are musical and other guests in the theater nightly, and it could be a comedian, it might be a musician, it could be a magician. There's it really depends, and it's sometimes is can be almost thematic to the cruise itinerary, and sometimes not. And then if you like to sing, you might be able to get a bit of karaoke in some evenings. And again, back to shore excursions. Now, this is again another way to sort of manage your costs for your cruise. You can buy excursions just a la carte, but they have what's called the Unlimited Passport Collection. And you pick a number of excursions in any of the ports, and it equates to about 40% off retail or per person. And what happens then, there are other Oceania Select and Oceania Exclusive excursions, and those might be small group or just limited because of the type of excursion. and you pay a modest supplement to upgrade one of the standard excursions. And Oceania just has a wide variety of options. And this happens to be, I've just put up a picture of the Old Town in Tallinn, Estonia, which is just lovely. So typically this unlimited passport collection, there's a fixed price for it. And it allows, so it depends on the size of the cruise, or the length of the cruise. So I don't know what the pricing is on this one, but I could easily find that out. And then they have your world collection. And this is where you pick whatever excursions you like. They put together like a portfolio for you, and you get a reduced rate. And again, minimum number, depending on the length of the voyage, because if you only want 2 and it's a 10-day voyage, well, then you're better off just buying 2 excursions a la carte. And then, of course, this cruise will spend an overnight in St. Petersburg. And it goes without saying that most people will spend some of that time at the Hermitage. And I'm going to go through it just to give you a sampling of the other types of excursions a la carte, and just sort of the range of diversity. So in Helsinki, you can kayak, you can do the chef's market tour, then go have a traditional lunch. And they have accessible city tours and village tours. You can go on a Nordic walk and finish with a sauna. And in St. Petersburg, the first night, and this one will probably book up quickly, is the musical evening at the Hermitage. And then it's off to Moscow by high-speed train if you so choose. And a number of these ports have Jewish heritage tours. And in St. Petersburg, there's a painting class, a master painting class. So, and back to Tallinn, we saw the old city there, the old town. They have an emerging gastronomy scene. So that is what a lot of people, when they're going to Tallinn now, they sort of get into that and dig deep and enjoy some great food. And the old town, there's, one walk where you visit a bunch of secret tunnels, but there's a number of themes of walking tours. And you can actually go out and do a nature reserve trek, which is for people with, good physical health or fitness. And then in Riga, Latvia, this art and architecture tour would be probably quite fascinating, as there are 800 German Art Nouveau buildings or structures in Riga, Latvia. So that is going to be, for anyone into architecture, they would probably be thrilled to do that tour. And they have a culinary center, and they'll go with the chef to the market and then come back, and you will actually do a cooking class, and then a number of walking tours. And then Visby, Sweden, there's a bicycle tour, which would be nice. This is a small port, so fewer people around, and it's there's a tour that's medieval focused. They have a lot of old churches and that, and if you want to go and have meet some local farmers and have a farm lunch, that is also an option. And Copenhagen, I'm sort of rushing through this, but there's just lots to cover. So through the eyes of a local, they have where you meet with a local, and they do a tour based on their experience and knowledge. And in Copenhagen, Tivoli Garden is, of course, an important site. And then they have a Denmark to Sweden. So you go cross a bridge over into Sweden and spend some time in Malmo. And numerous walking tours. I think everyone will see the Little Mermaid statue before they leave Denmark. And then they have a Danish design and architecture tour. Again, back to people into art and design would really enjoy. And then the last port before hitting London, or getting to London, would be Bruges. And so Ghent and Bruges, Flemish art jewels. One really interesting one, I think, for many would be Flanders Field. And they have a number of bicycle and walking tours. So just to get a sense of all these different things, like this is over a 10-day period, you can just see so many things. It's a very action-packed in terms of the number of experiences you can have taking, if you were to go on this voyage. Just a sense of who is the oceanic guest. These are people that are very curious about the world still, and they want more than sort of that mass market travel experience. They want to meet the locals. They want to do hands-on things, and of course they like being with like-minded people. Anyone who's cruised knows how many friends you make along the way. That's a really nice part of cruising. And in terms of on board, fine wines and superb dining, people do go on Oceania to have that experience. Like they don't want to give up those things during their holiday. And they travel in quality. The beautifully appointed staterooms and ship, excellent service, and being a small vessel, you're not crowded, you're not standing in lines for anything. And they understand quality over quantity, which equates to value instead of price. They are, 55 and older, depending on the itinerary. Sometimes you get an older group, but this particular itinerary is like a bucket list or travel wish list. Like so many people want to get to the Hermitage. And then all the rest is just really great extras. And they've cruised multiple times. And often Oceania Cruises tend to be quite loyal. So a lot of repeat guests. And really to sum it up, they are immersive explorers. They like to get out there and see what's going on in their world. And I had mentioned, that idea of looking at the cruise fare and all the extras you would have to build in. I took a premium cruise line going on almost the same itinerary. In fact, it's one night shorter, and they don't stop in Bruges. And when you look at the cruise fare, just without understanding what's included, the cruise fare on Oceania for that balcony I had shown you is $74.99 Canadian. And the premium cruise line, it's a lot less, it's $6,110. But when you add in the extras you will pay on the premium cruise line and the extras you pay on Oceania, you can see you're saving just over $500. If that's, that's per person. So, and if you go up to guest capacity, the Oceania ship is 684 people. It will be running reduced capacity. The premium cruise line, 4,266 passengers. Even if they reduce that like a quarter, or you'd be still thousands of people on the ship. And it's, what do you want? What type of experience do you want? If you need to be entertained all the time, maybe a premium cruise line is better. But if you want really great quality and really to learn about all the places you're going to, Oceania would definitely excel. Now, just to let you know what's going on with Oceania, right now they have the ultimate sale. And what they've done is on many itineraries, like hundreds, they have reduced the pricing, which is very atypical, but they understand people are reluctant, maybe a bit reluctant to travel right now, where they're thinking, well, I'm not sure if it's a good time for me. So this is atypical. The promotion, though, is combinable with the free airfare and unlimited Wi-Fi and the Old Life Choice. And I'll go over that again on the next slide. And then it's also combinable with the group offer that is available through Departures Travel. And I will also explain that. Just looking at time. So pricing your cruise based on your preferences. Again, this is round trip airfare and free internet are included. The Old Life Choice, as mentioned, there's either short excursions, beverage package, or shipboard credit. So you mix that up, decide what you need. In the case of the Old Life Choice, I know that both in the stateroom do have to select the same one. You can't intermix them. So, but that is combined with the ultimate sale pricing. And then I opened a group on the sailing because I thought, this is such a great deal. I wanted to get some more amenities in for people that were coming to Departures Travel to book. So, and an open group is simply, there's a group with some amenities attached to it, and anyone can book into it. You don't have to know anyone in the group, and you don't have to meet anyone in the group. It's very autonomous. So the group amenity includes 150 US shipboard credit for the stateroom, plus free prepaid gratuities. And the value starts at 320 US for the stateroom. Everything on board is in US. So this is a great deal. And then Departures Travel is part of the Ensemble Travel Group, and they have an amenity on this sailing. So that adds another 200 US shipboard credit to the stateroom. So, and this group can be booked. Any of the Departures Travel consultants have access to book into this group. So if you do have a Departures Travel consultant and you would like to book with them, they will be aware of this option, and they will be able to book you into the group. And now, sort of in closing, almost, Oceania Assurance Program. Right now, all cruise lines know that people are very reluctant to commit any money. They're worried about when travel corridors will open and when travel restrictions will be lifted. So right now, on all existing cruises that are booked, once they're past final payment, so paid in full, all guests can cancel for any reason up to 48 hours prior to their departure and receive a future cruise credit, 100% value of what they paid for the cruise. And that's valid on all existing reservations. Now, all new reservations made through July 31st, 2020 for all scheduled voyages departing this year, next year, and the ones that are currently available for 2022 are now subject to that no penalty cancellation. And that future cruise credit, if someone were to do the cancellation, the no penalty cancellation, they would just have to depart no later than December 31st, 2022. So while there isn't money being refunded, your travel investment is protected. And I think that that's very important because pre-COVID-19, this was something you would have to pay extra for. And this, the cruise line, Oceania, is just providing to guests. And that's it. So if there are any questions, I'm not sure I can receive them. I will check my chat, but I am available through Facebook Live or Facebook, Departures Travel, and I'd be happy to answer any questions for you. Or again, if you are already working or work with a departures agent at the Old Bay or Sydney office, I would invite you to chat with them and they will be able to answer any questions about this. So I think that's it. And I will close this off and yes, thank you everyone. Bye.